Let's take a few minutes to discuss things that every veteran needs to know to make a smooth transition while getting out of the military. When talking to one of my subscribers a few months ago, he said to me, "Not everyone getting out of the military has made as smooth as a transition as you. I think it would be a good idea to make a video about transitioning out of the military and what people should know." That's a great idea. So here we are. Let's talk about expectations, not losing your identity, but also not acting awkwardly, translating military to civilian, and resources. Let's start with expectations. Truth be told, I miss the military, but I absolutely love being a civilian. The next couple of principles paint a glim portrait of civilian life. It isn't to say that being a civilian is terrible, because it isn't. This is to get you prepared for a worst-case scenario, but hoping that it isn't. While active duty, the military is a lifestyle, a family, it's all-consuming. It easily becomes a source of identity. But once you get out, the civilian workplace doesn't offer you that kind of fulfillment. It's not your source of identity. The military is what you did. It's not who you are. Just like your job is what you do to pay the bills, it's not your identity. The civilian world isn't as team-oriented as the military. You are going to find that people are more motivated by money or time off or other compensations than they were in the military. Along the same lines, there's less camaraderie. Don't expect for coworkers to hang out and to become a family. After the workday is over, most people race out the door to go start their real life. Most people don't care about or have pride in what they're doing. It's just a job and it pays the bills. Let's call this less ownership. Gone are the days when the excellence of someone's work is a reflection of the excellence of their character. Also expect 10, not 30 days of vacation a year. Thankfully, we're not living in a time when people hate veterans. I think for the most part, even if people hate the wars, they still support veterans. But just because it's politically correct to support a veteran, don't expect everyone to be patriotic. In order to get a job, you need to be good at marketing yourself and your resume. You can't just assume that everyone is dying to hire a vet who went to airborne school. You need to be able to let people know how capable you are. And this is always a bit awkward for those of us who have been raised to always be humble about our accomplishments and capabilities. Let's talk about characteristics that you need to showcase. If you maintain your discipline after you get out of the military, you will stick out and excel in the civilian world. I also recommend that you maintain your brutal honesty. I've found that even within the civilian workplace, my bosses appreciate those people who tell it straight and get to the point, but do it gently. Even if everyone else is only out for themselves, continue to be a team player. Your example will be contagious and perhaps change the work environment for the better. Continue to be selfless, to volunteer, to help out where help is needed. Look for work and make the civilian team better because you're now a part of it. Continue to be a good follower. Obedience is a rare virtue these days, and your new bosses will appreciate you being a good follower. And finally, continue to be a woman or man of your word. Continue to let your yes be yes. Continue to live with the code of honor you lived with while you were in uniform. Let's move on to the don'ts, as in don't alienate yourself by being too Marine, or too hard, or too stoic. Don't stand at parade rest and get your hair cut every Sunday night. Relax. Enjoy your freedom. I recommend that you don't say sir in every sentence, as in yes sir, no sir. And for sure, don't say sir twice in the same sentence, as in sir, yes sir. Try using the word sir or ma'am about once a paragraph. Know your operational environment. I've already made a video about this subject, so if you haven't yet seen this video, then I recommend you watch it. If your boss wears a tie, then wear a tie. If your boss wears cargo pants and hiking boots, then don't show up with striped socks and wingtips. Try to fit in and be nice, and don't ever play the "you don't know anything about me" game. The truth is, most people can't relate to what you've done or seen, so get over it and move on with your life. It's time to be the special operator you've always wanted to be, but the civilian version. It's okay to grow your hair a little bit longer, to put your hands in your pocket. Raise the standards of your new organization. Learn your new organization and their doctrine. Perfect the basics. Lead well, and keep your PowerPoint presentations as tight as your shot group. Let's talk about your DD-214. For those of you who don't know, a DD-214 is a list of all of your promotions, deployments, schools, awards, and service. It makes sense to someone who spent 20 years in the military, but it doesn't make sense to a recruiter trying to hire a new manager. Don't give your DD-214 to a civilian. It's going to scare them, and they won't know how to read it. Give them highlights in bullet format, sort of like a CV. Only active duty personnel know about military occupational specialties or codes or rates. And truthfully, it gets more and more complicated every year. The Navy is the worst. It's impossible to know all of their codes. Don't say I was an 11 Bravo and expect people to understand it and then yell, "Airborne, Rangers lead the way." Say, I was a project manager and a small team leader which specialized in international security and data protection. And finally, no acronyms. Don't presume that anyone knows what you're saying. Spell everything out or say it out. Let's move on to resources. There are hundreds of them. I'm going to hit the highlights for a few minutes, but I've also consolidated pages of resources for vets getting out of the military. The hyperlinks will be in the description. Every single branch has a military transition website. This is the first place you should go. Another great resource is militarytransition.org. One of my favorite resources out there is 9line. It's a contracting company which supports US SOCOM. The CEO was my battalion commander when I was a young lieutenant in Korea, and two of my all-time favorite and most respected command sergeant majors work for this organization. The National Resource Directory is an online partnership for wounded, ill, or injured service members, veterans, their families, and those who support them. ONET Online has a great military occupational code crosswalk. Type in your specialty code and it's going to let you know how to explain it to civilians. For example, a Navy SEAL might say, "I like to blow stuff up and kill bad guys, ha!" But for your resume, and during a job interview, it might be better if he goes to ONET Online and says something like, "I implemented unconventional operations by air, land, and sea during combat and peacetime as a member of an elite team." Clearance Jobs is a great place to look for jobs which require a secret or a top secret clearance. USA Jobs is the website that you're going to need to use to get a job to work as a US government civilian. The Veterans Administration is obviously where you need to go to get a VA loan, to use the GI Bill to go back to school, or for disability pay, or for medical care. Recruit Military is a great place to go if you're looking for a job. Veterans.gov is a great place for veterans to look for jobs. The Department of Labor publishes a great guide for employment fundamentals of career transition. The Small Business Administration has a great program called Boots to Business. If you want to be an entrepreneur, I highly recommend it. The DoD publishes some great advice about financial planning. Again, I want to reiterate that all of the hyperlinks to these websites are in the description below. Okay, so there you have it. My best advice for men and women who are leaving the military service and moving on to the next phase of their lives. I hope you are now more capable of making good decisions and better able to change your world for the better. And if you've been out for a while, then let me know what resources made the biggest difference during your transition out of the military and why. Please put the links in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe if you want to keep on learning, and be sure to forward to a friend who needs to know this. Life is a special operation. Are you ready for it?